Hello, my name is Finbar O'Connor.
And I'm Lulani Mendez.
And you're watching The Book Report. Is the frontal lobe of your brain gone?
Try getting it back today by reading.
A concept you probably haven't heard of before.
Another thing you probably haven't heard of before is a book called Rebecca because, well, it's a book.
More specifically, Rebecca is a psychological horror written by Daphne du Maurier in 1938.
On a much more serious note, Rebecca is a classic and definitely worth reading.
So, what makes this book so interesting to you?
I think the fact that it really puts you in the setting of the book, like it really puts you in the 20th century, like where it takes place, and she's very descriptive with everything that she writes.
Yeah, and like even the way the author describes Manderley, which is the big, like grand estate where the story takes place. Like she describes the estate Manderley as though it's like a character. And there are certain parts of the book that feels so poetic, like the way she personifies like the trees and like the moonlight and the way she describes it as like this paradise that the narrator ends up living in. She really does a great job at building this atmosphere for you to like indulge in.
I agree. And the way that she it's also interesting the fact that in the book we also never really get her name. Yeah. So you're always thinking like, okay, who is she? And it kind of like works with the psychological horror in that sense because she kind of like takes the identity of a future character in the book, Rebecca. Yeah, and it makes her very mysterious too as a character. Like you really don't know much about her. You don't know a lot about her life. And so after she marries Mr. De Winter, her name literally just becomes Mrs. De Winter. Like that becomes her entire identity, being his wife. And so that's another thing that makes it really interesting, like the lack of information that you're given about her. Would you like to explain like the story just so everybody watching knows? Yeah, so when she's living in, she has no name, you have no idea who she is, and she's living in this place called Monte Carlo in Europe. And then after meeting this guy named Maxim, professionally known as Mr. De Winter, they end up falling in love, and he kind of like sweeps her off her feet to Manderley, which is this big estate that Mr. De Winter owns in England. But what she doesn't really know is that Mr. De Winter originally had a wife named Rebecca who died very tragically. She drowned. And so then it's kind of like everyone's holding to her to this higher standard and is like comparing her to Rebecca. And so she's like, and we don't really know a lot about Rebecca either. Like we're never given any like straight dialogue from her. So you kind of like piece together like what happened to Rebecca, who she was, and it's about like the narrator sort of putting the puzzle pieces together about her husband, Mr. De Winter, and his past relationship with Rebecca, and who Rebecca was. And so Rebecca is like very alluring, like she really captivated everyone who met her. And so the narrator, being this shy, introverted girl, is kind of being compared to Rebecca because like Manderley is like this very infamous estate, like everyone knows what it is. And so she also kind of deals with the publicity of that. One thing I'd like to add about Mr. De Winters is that we always get the sense that Mr. De Winters sees Rebecca more as like a pet than a wife. Yeah, like she kind of thinks like, oh, he could never, like he would never love me as much as he loved Rebecca. And that's how she feels, where she kind of starts to become obsessed with that idea, and she kind of starts to even like become Rebecca a little bit. Like, oh, if I acted like her a little bit more, if I was like her, maybe he would like me more. Yeah, which I think the author is like really, the way that she words everything and the way that like, going back to the fact that Rebecca, the main character doesn't even have a name. Like, she really like takes on the identity of this character that we don't even see in the first place. Like, Rebecca is the most prominent character, and she's not even in the book. Yeah, that's what's really interesting too. Like, she's the most prominent character, and she has such a big influence over everything. But we barely like even get a glimpse of her directly. Like, everything that you learn about her is through the people that she knew, that she spoke to.
And so when the narrator hears all of these great things about Rebecca, she thinks, oh, if only I was like her, if only I was more mature, maybe people would respect me more. Maybe I'd be more successful if I was more like Rebecca. Maybe my relationship with my husband would be more successful if I was more like Rebecca. And so she becomes obsessed with this idea of being like Rebecca. And she sort of like embodies that. Which it's funny going back to what you said, because she's never, like she doesn't really know much about Rebecca, but she still idealizes her to such a level where she starts to kind of like embody that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the idea of Rebecca, considering that we don't even like really even get to meet her, is like this really outgoing girl. She's like everything that, you know, Mr. De Winters and everyone who surrounded Rebecca wanted, you know, in a person. She's also like the epitome of like rich and wealthiness. And if we go back to who the narrator is, she's like a maid.
Yeah, like she has no family, like no social background, like no social status. And so for her to go from that to living at Manderley and becoming very well known and having to deal with all the people, and like they used to throw really great parties too, and the press and the expectations set out to her. Like she's dealing with a lot of pressure being Mr. De Winter's wife. And then do you want to read the quote?
Oh, yeah. A quote from the book states, Rebecca, always Rebecca, wherever I walked in Manderley, wherever I sat, even in my thoughts, in my dreams, I met Rebecca.
And that's the narrator.
Yeah, that's the narrator.
If this book sounds like something you're interested in, definitely give it a read and join us in book club. We meet every other Monday, and we'll be having casual discussions over the books that we read.
We meet during lunch at 11 a.m., and I can guarantee your frontal lobe will be massive by the end of the school year, but seriously, you can make great connections through our book club.
Again, my name is Finbar O'Connor.
And I'm Lulani Mendez.
And thanks for watching.
Thank you.